Hey guys, welcome to the MEAP Squad. I'm Matt,
I'm Erica.
I'm Pat.
Aiden.
and today we're going to be doing our top 5 best looking board games on the table. So when I was putting together my list, I made sure to grab good games because I didn't want to make a best of a top 5 list without having them all be actually good games. I also wanted to grab games that I've played, and I wanted to make sure that they were a little bit different from each other so that I wasn't just putting like 5 area control games on the table. Did you guys have any special requirements when you guys were putting together your lists?
If I haven't seen the game set up myself, like if I've only seen it online, I didn't include it. So I have to either have played it myself or seen other people playing it. That was about my only requirement.
I also went with games that I had personally played before. I also just games that really drew me in the first time that I walked by it. I saw it and I said, I have to play that game.
Yeah.
I tried to abide by this rule, but I couldn't leave out Scythe from my list.
Ooh, spoilers.
I'm sorry, despite not having played it, but we'll get into that in just a moment.
Speaking of, should we start
Speaking
with
of?
number 5?
Yeah, let's go with number 5.
Okay.
Okay, so my number 5 was Mysterium. Mysterium, it's a cooperative game where one person is playing as the ghost. They're trying to get other people to guess their murderer. I think the thing that I really liked about Mysterium, the reason it really made my list, is that big DM screen that you have. Like, the ghost gets to sit behind this huge screen, and when he uses his abilities, he's putting these little crow figures on top of it, right? Plus, the artwork of the game looks really good, sprawled across the table, so that's why I went with that one. I know you guys have all played it. What do you think of Mysterium?
It definitely was a potential for being on my list. However, I didn't include it in my top 5, but it was definitely a contender, an honorable mention.
Yes, again, definitely an honorable mention. Definitely has that Dixit feel of just really nice artwork, which makes most of the game.
Yeah, it's essentially like, I used to call it actually like Dixit with purpose, because it's using those really neat cards, that abstract art. Yeah. So we want to do Erica's number 5? What did you have?
So my number 5 was probably a little unexpected. I did Champions of Midgard. It's a very I love the board setup of it, and all the cards are
I would not have guessed that one on your list. There's no way. Like
I figured that would be kind of a surprise. But yeah,
That's cool.
I really like the art style of the board itself. It's I found most of mine took up quite a bit of the table on my list. I like the visual appeal of lots of cards or pieces, just kind of filling up the space. And yeah, the artwork of the board and the cards are all very interesting. The pieces themselves are actually not too bad quality and visual. So yeah, that was my top. That was my number 5 for my list. Champions of Midgard.
So for my number 5, I went with Dinosaur Island. It's got a really awesome 90s feel to it.
Cool.
It's Jurassic Park, like you're building out your park and trying to make the best attraction that doesn't get completely destroyed.
Awesome.
it's never good when your attractions get destroyed.
No, not really. The entire idea of Jurassic Park never really made sense to me, but
But who wouldn't want to make it as a board game?
that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, dinosaurs are cool. Like, who wouldn't want a park filled of terrorizing beasts that could eat you alive?
Most people.
Oh, okay.
Most
That's
people.
I
fair, I
might
guess.
not want it. As I alluded to earlier, my number 5 is Scythe. I haven't played Scythe. I've looked at Scythe, however. What I find really interesting about this game is that the lore was built up before the game was actually created, and I believe they made the game just because the lore was so interesting, and they said we have to make a game
That's
out
cool.
of this.
Yeah, the board
Yeah.
itself, the minis.
The board, the minis.
Of course,
The
we've
little
all
blimps.
played Scythe,
Yeah.
right?
Little blimps. And when you get the expansions with like the heavy metal coins and like all the heavy pieces,
That's true. Yeah, yeah. The
It's-
deluxe
the
version or whatever. Yeah,
is like it's a high quality game and it's really nice.
for sure. That one it was close for me. That Scythe didn't make my list, so
Honorable mention.
yeah, definitely an honorable mention. Let's move on to number 4.
So for my number 4, I chose something that maybe not everyone knows. I chose Mechs versus Minions, which is actually a board game done by.
It's a very good game.
Yes. It's a League of Legends from. For those who don't know, it's made by the League of Legends people. It's Mechs versus
Riot
Minions.
Games, yeah.
Riot Games. Thank you. And yeah, I've played it once myself, and I really love the minis are very detailed. I found, and the board itself looked very interesting. The gems and everything, the map layout. So I haven't played every campaign or every game in the campaign, but from what I remember of it and what I looked at it when I was making my list, I that's my number 4, Mechs versus Minions.
It's definitely a good choice, and just everything is super high quality.
Yeah.
Yes.
Including the box, everything about it.
Yeah,
so
the whole
well
thing.
done.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Cerebria. It is just a beautiful game. It's kind of like different personalities fighting over who's going to be the dominant personality of the person.
Versus game that just came out on Kickstarter.
Yeah,
right?
it's definitely 2 months old maybe at this point.
Yeah.
You can, when the Kickstarter came out, you could get the minis pre-painted, which are really gorgeous.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so many miniature games that are coming out on Kickstarter, they don't do the pre-painted miniatures. So it's cool to actually have that as an option.
But even without them, they're still gorgeous little minis, and it's just very vibrant colors. And you build this little tower in the center of the board. Just everything about it's really cool.
Yeah, I still have to play that one. That's definitely on my list of games I want to play. So, what did you have, Aiden?
My number 4 is a game that we actually have a few videos on if you want to check them out. Shipwreck Arcana. The reason I selected this one is because there's a bunch of individual cards which all have very beautiful art on them. They've actually made posters out of some of these cards, as I believe,
Yep.
that you can purchase. The art style is really unique, I find. It's really pretty. It's something that I would be super pleased to have hanging on my walls.
Mm-hmm.
Just a gorgeous game overall.
Yeah, it's actually, they did a small expansion to it not too long ago, so we're actually going to get a couple of new cards. So
Sweet.
Yeah, so we'll
that.
probably be playing that again in the future. So my number 4 is actually a bit of a dice rolling game. And you guys might not have expected this one for my list, but it's Sagrada, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to
Yeah.
say this one.
So, Sagrada, you roll some dice and it's basically dice drafting, and you're trying to build out a stained glass window. But the little player boards that they have for it are really well made. Yeah. And the dice colors, even me being colorblind, I can't tell the difference between two of the dice, but it's still like, once all the dice get into your little player board, they just look awesome. And even the favor tokens, the currency of the game, there's these rounded little stones, and all the pieces look really good. And it's a smaller game, but I really like the way that it looks.
Super colorful, vibrant. Definitely
Absolutely.
Visually appealing.
Okay, let's move on to number 3.
So for my number 3, I did try to stay away from super just models and minis for this list, but I had to put in giant killer robots.
Yeah.
It's just so cool. You get these massive robots, and there's like big pillars, and you're going around trying to kill each other. Like it's just a cool looking game, and all the models are really well done.
My number 3, similar to Shipwreck Arcana, this is a game that features a number of different cards with art on them, and the game is Modern Art. The reason I like this is because all of the art comes in different styles. There's, I believe, 5 different artists, and each are painting in their own style, and it's all completely unique, completely original art. It fits really well within these 5 styles. And it's just really pleasant to look at. When you're playing this game, you're buying and selling art, and some of these pictures you actually want to hold on to. They're great. You want them in your collection.
Yeah, that's cool. I haven't actually played that one.
Yeah,
but I've seen you playing it like at the library and whatever, and it looks pretty cool. So
it's my favorite auctioning game.
There you go. So my number 3 is a little panda game known as Takenoko. I think I'm saying that right. Anyway, so in the game you're placing tiles down, and the tiles just have this really nice artwork to them. it feels like, you know, the little forest tiles, the little lake tile and that, and you're moving around this cute little panda and this gardener, and then you're building these stalks of bamboo all over the place. So by the end of the game, especially if nobody's using the panda to eat all the bamboo, you end up with like all these stalks of bamboo all over the table. So it's really eye-catching from the outside, and then those pieces are really they're really well made kind of thing. So that's
Have not played it, but I've definitely seen the cute panda.
yeah.
And so I want to play it. On to me, my number 3 was actually, when I was trying to think of games that caught my eye, it was the box itself on the shelf in one of our public board game cafes. Euphoria, actually. Yes. So the box not only caught my eye, but then you open it up and you have this lovely board, and I very much like the art style of it as well. It's quite unique, I guess. It's not super unique, but I really like the art style of it. And yeah, Euphoria, again, a game that takes up most of the table, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It certainly does. There's actually, you might not know this, but there's a social deduction game in the Euphoria universe called Leaders of Euphoria.
Oh,
Yeah,
I did not know
I was taking a look at that one the other day, and it's the same art style, so
Okay.
it actually looks pretty cool. Yeah.
But it won't take up the entire table. so-
Probably
No.
not.
Probably
So, like,
not.
won't
Not
make
nearly
my
as
list.
cool.
I mean,
No.
those giant plastic ray guns, right?
What?
We were
I think we're
We're
ready
number-
for
number-
number 2.
number 2.
So, my number 2, I love this game so much. I think it's my favorite game of the past year. Who Goes There?
Oh yeah.
This game is actually modeled after the movie The Thing, and they got it right. All of the components are something that you can find within the movie. The reason I really like this, though, is just the art style that they've chosen for all of the characters. It's a little quirky. It's colorful. It's almost a sort of comic book style, I find.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
even though it's not, say, photorealistic, they're not taking pictures of the movie The Thing, it really draws you in and makes you think about the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really animated thing. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I just love the little dog that keeps tracking
The
along.
round
marker
the
that
round
goes around,
marker.
yeah.
All the components were super
Oh,
well made. The boards
Yeah.
themselves, everything.
The thing that blows me away about that one is actually the box insert.
Yes.
Like honestly, the box insert is like it's the best
It's
box
amazing.
insert.
That's
that
a
I've,
whole
like,
different
ever
top
seen,
5,
right?
though.
Like,
It looks good on the
It's
table
so
and
good,
when you
right?
take it off the table.
Yes.
yeah. When you're putting it away, you're just like, yes, this has a spot. Yeah, I figured that one would be on your list.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My number 2 is actually one of the newer games that I've got. It's an area control game with floating islands, and it's Mysthea. Yeah, so I did an unboxing video of this one, and the miniature quality is just amazing on these guys. And there's so many of these little miniatures, and they did a bunch of different sculpts for them too. Yeah, there's like the little guy, and he's anyway. But yeah, so it just looks really good, and you're playing with these miniatures, and you're pushing them out on the board, and even like the artwork on the cards,
That's
I
lovely.
found really nice. The islands themselves look great, and the thing that like it even impresses me that the back of the board looks so clean and so like I don't know, it's just beautiful on the back of the board too, really, which you'll never see. But anyway,
They went
that
that
was
extra step to put in the
Yeah.
in there.
yeah, and yeah, so I'm looking forward to the next couple of games by those guys. I know they've got more Kickstarters coming out, which I'll probably be jumping all over. So that's my number 2, Mysthea.
So my number 2 was also Who Goes There. Actually, not so much for the comic booky, or not comic book, but the art style, but just the board layout, everything. I love the player boards. Everything looks so good, slotted in. You flip over your power when you get to use it, all that stuff. So I found the player board so unique, and the board itself kind of hooks together to create your inside and your outside.
Mhm.
You mentioned earlier the dog that's running along your
Yeah.
round tracker, right?
It's so cute.
The companion, yes. Or if you have the dog trainer as a character, right?
Yeah.
You have your little dog that actually slots into your mini.
Into your mini.
So the minis combined with the player boards.
Even the infection clickers, right?
Yes,
that's
that's
kind of
cool.
neat, right? Like
Yeah.
that's
I was
a
gonna
really
say
cool
the
part,
unique
right?
aspects
Yeah.
of that game are visually
Yeah.
set it apart, and definitely.
Yeah.
Again, fills up the table. But
For sure. And actually,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to D6. It's the next game by those same guys in the same kind of art style, but it's done with I think like a Dungeons and Dragons theme kind of thing.
So
So
we'll see what that
that's
looks
cool.
like.
yeah,
I'll play
so
this.
that'll be cool too. So
So my number 2 is Catacombs. It's a tile flicking game.
It is that one. Okay.
It's more performance art than anything. Like, you see someone sitting there flicking these little tiles around, and you just have to know what's going on. The art style is very amusing. The entire gameplay of it just makes me want, when I see people playing it, makes me want to know more.
You can see people playing it from across the room, and that draws you.
Especially when they
Yeah.
hit you as they flick their pieces off
Well,
the table.
and then
right?
little pieces of terrain come up, and like
That's
all
cool,
sorts
yeah.
of little things, and just the cards and the artwork on the little pogs or whatever you want to call them are just really cool. I don't know.
Cool.
Alright.
So that was number 2.
That-
Then
What's the best one?
I guess we're on to number 1. So my number 1 has actually already been mentioned. It's not a little game. I was gonna say a little game, but it's not a little game. It's a big game, campaign based, made by a certain video game
Riot.
producer named Riot Games. It's Mechs vs. Minions. It's still like the best production quality that I think I've seen in a board game. The trays themselves are amazing. The miniatures, all pre-painted little guys, amazing. Well, sorry, the main characters are pre-painted, and the main boss mech is pre-painted. Shh, don't tell anybody, he's a secret. And then all the miniatures, like all of the little minions, are all different sculpts, and it's got the metal disc components to it, and just the whole board has the what do you call it? Is it the spot UV or whatever? For like the glossy finish to the runes and stuff like that. They made custom dice for the game as well. Like, the game just looks great. You throw it all out on the table and it looks awesome. And then like even the campaign, because I've been through the entire campaign.
Just tearing those envelopes. It's
Yeah,
so
it's
satisfying.
so cool. Like, you get this
you pull it out,
envelope, yeah.
and then you pull out the envelope, you pull out the instructions and what's going to be happening on the next mission.
Yeah, and you get like
It's
different
so
player
cool.
upgrades, and you have like your player board, and it's like solid
It
cardboard.
is solid.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my number 1 is Mechs vs. Minions.
Good choice, of course.
Yeah.
Didn't make my number 1 though, obviously. My number 1 is actually a game from Kickstarter. I don't think I've seen it in stores. Direwild. So this is a deck builder dungeon crawler game, and I find the combination of this relatively small board, this grid board that you're actually going across, but you've got these 4 to 5 bad guys crawling around the map, plus your character board, your character minis, and it depending on which side of your player board you are, you actually have your own mini, whether you're the guy or the girl, and they each have their unique powers. So that the dungeon crawler aspect is really visually interesting, as well as the art. Though the art style is so cute. You start your game with puppies and kittens and one unique little animal in your deck.
Yeah.
And just even
or a salamander or a,
yeah,
or a
the
penguin. Yeah, the
Yeah,
awkward
the awkward
penguin.
But no, just the art style of the cards themselves as well is
Yeah.
very, very interesting.
It's
Like,
different,
there's-
right? Like
yeah.
it's like, I wouldn't call it like clean, but it's got a unique look to it,
Yeah.
and it looks
Yeah.
really good, right?
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
Yeah. So that's my number 1, Direwild.
My number 1 is Photosynthesis. You walk into anywhere that someone's in the middle of that game, your eyes are just drawn to it. You're building forests together and trying to be the most dominant type of tree, basically. Soaking up the most sun.
Big dandelions, they're very dominant.
But yeah, so you just get this forest growing, and people are just throwing out these stand-up trees, and
Yeah,
the
'cause they're all
big,
3D models.
they're
right?
all
Yeah.
well,
But
they're
they're like
cardboards.
Yeah.
You know, the butt joint, or the bridle jointed cardboard pieces that slap together, and I don't know. They're
never
And the
seen it on
forest
the
is-
table, but I've heard so many nice
it
things
is
about it.
gorgeous,
I'm still waiting to play
and
that
they
one
just
myself.
keep getting bigger as you
That's cool.
grow your trees.
It really is amazing. The forest is always evolving with the trees growing and then getting cut down, and the colors are just shifting around the board. With this particular game, the sun moves around the board, affecting where the trees are growing. To which effect, my number 1 was actually mentioned a little earlier in our video. I selected Photosynthesis.
Just a little earlier, right?
Not much more to add, other than it's one of the few games that I would say I would not mind at all just leaving set up in my apartment on the table, such that perhaps I can't eat breakfast because I would rather just, well, maybe not. But it's a really good looking game.
It'd be a tough decision.
Yeah.
I do like
Breakfast.
breakfast.
Yeah, trees or breakfast? Which would you prefer?
Well, it's so colorful. You get the green trees,
They're
the
like
blue
little
trees,
broccolis.
the yellow trees, and the red trees.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
You can really see it. I don't know. I
My
like
breakfast is not colorful.
Right.
Green
Currently,
eggs.
Photosynthesis and Mechs versus Minions are very
Yeah.
agreeable games for
along with Who Goes There.
Who goes
Who
there?
Goes
Yeah, we had a
There,
couple
that's-
votes for that
yeah.
one too.
So yeah.
But yeah, other than that, a lot of variety actually in our list, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
I was a little surprised actually. So, yeah.
So yeah, that's our video for top 5 board games that look great on a table. We're the MEAP Squad.
I'm Matt.
Erica.
I'm Pat.
Aiden.
And thanks for watching.
See you guys later.
Don't forget to hit subscribe.
Okay.
Smash that like button. All right.
Hit that bell.